want to thank you all for joining Borough President Vito Fasella and I to highlight a quality of life issue at the end of the day. Obviously, Manor Road Post Office is a very important post office in our community, and for years we've had drive-by drop-off boxes where residents in our community can drop off their mail. All of a sudden, those mailboxes are gone, and there's a note that says, collection boxes removed permanently due to an increase in vandalism and theft. So, unfortunately, this is obviously and we're very disturbed by this development. It's not just this post office. We've spoken with the postmaster. We've expressed our concern about this. And there's really two issues. One is the quality of life, the ease and convenience of people being able to do the drive-through. There's limited parking within this parking lot at the post office. And the other is the rise in crime that we continue to see, not just on Staten Island, but across the city of New York. So what we're calling for is the Postmaster General to work with us to make sure these boxes are placed back where they were, and let's look at some security measures that can be implemented instead. Perhaps we can add some security cameras. We should be increasing the presence of our postal police, more surveillance by them, and we need to work together as a community to report these incidents of check fraud. It has gotten out of control. And back decades ago, there was similar issues with check fraud. They put in certain boxes, but as you know, the thieves are clever and they adapt and they find new ways to rip off New Yorkers. So what we're asking for is for them to work with us instead of punishing the innocent resident that's just trying to go about their daily business and take away what was a convenient way for them to drop off their mail. Work with us and local law enforcement to catch the perpetrators instead. Now, I spoke with Chief Galata of the NYPD earlier, and he told me that there is a slight tick in the check fraud that's being reported. And this is where it's a public service announcement for residents as well. We need local residents, if they are a victim of check fraud, to notify their local precinct and file a report. That's the way we're going to catch these perpetrators, by seeing the trends on where this is happening, how often it's happening, and if there's a commonality in these cases. Second thing is, please contact our office. We want to be made aware of these situations so we can make sure that we're working with our postal service and our law enforcement to protect our constituents. The third thing that people can do is when you're writing a check with a personal check, use an unwashable pen. These are pens that will make it more difficult for people to steal these checks and wash the name out and the amount and then issue it in a different amount to them. So it's really important that we take these measures to protect the community. But for the purposes of today, again, we're calling on the Postal Service to reinstate these boxes. Let's not punish the residents and the local businesses that rely on our mail service, the customers of this post office. Let's instead work to capture the perpetrators and make sure that they're charged to the fullest extent. I'd like to introduce our Borough President, Vito Fasella.
Thank you. Thank you, Congresswoman. Thanks for bringing us out today. This is a case where convenience and common sense gets thrown out the window because crooks take advantage of what happens not just across Staten Island too often in the city and state, as the Congresswoman said. And we're here. This is not a criticism of the Postal Service or the postal carriers. They do a great job every day. It's not a criticism of NYPD. We have the best police force in the entire world. This is just highlighting what has been a good thing for this community, and this is sort of the mothership here for people across Staten Island, and we're going to hear from a couple of residents who were directly affected and impacted by this, and as the Congressman mentioned, what we want to do is just reinstate and replace these drop boxes here. If there are thefts, and it happens, let's get the guys who do it and put them behind bars if necessary. But let's not give in. We have a tendency to just give in and say we give up. But the people who get hurt when we just give in and give up are the ordinary hardworking taxpayers who live in this beautiful community. And now you'll hear firsthand how this will hurt them and inconvenience them and become a burden. So I'm optimistic that we can work out a solution to get these things back. At a minimum, we can have surveillance cameras if it's an issue, and then integrate that with NYPD or the Postal Service Police. We can do this, and this is a respectful request to put these things back where they belong.
Thank you very much. We want to introduce our president of the Letter Carriers Union, John Cruz, who understands the impact that this will have on customer service.
Thank you. Thank you all. We just became aware of this issue. We just became aware of this issue about removing the boxes throughout Staten Island. So we're doing our own investigation because we're here to service the community, and it is a big impact on the community. The American people do depend on us a lot. So letter carriers are working hard out here every day. So once we conduct our investigation, we'll let Nicole Malliotakis know what we're up to, and we'll keep you guys informed. Thank you.
Thank you. We have the chairman of Community Board 1, Nick Siclari.
I just want to say from the North Shore that my 85-year-old mother comes all the way from Clifton to ease the convenience because it would take 10 minutes to get her out of the car and mail a letter. So I just say this is a travesty, and for our post office not to have a mailbox for us to mail a letter. It's just sad, and this is one of the main postal offices on Staten Island. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Someone who is in the neighborhood served by this post office, our good Assemblyman Sam Pirazzolo.
Good afternoon, everyone. How are you today? So I only live a block or two away, and for as long as I can remember, this post office has served people with a drive-through mailbox where you would be able to just roll down your window and put the letters in the box. Then those boxes were removed because of supposedly fraudulent activity, people were stealing, and these new tamper-proof mailboxes were put in place. I could only fit 2 or 3 letters, maybe 4 tops, depending on the thickness, in those tamper-proof mailboxes. So all I have to say is that this is an extreme disservice to our community if we're taking these mailboxes away. And I want to follow that by saying the year is 2024. We have built a better mousetrap. Surely we can build a better mailbox. So I encourage the post office to please work on those designs, and let's get this service back to the people of Staten Island and this community, because this post office is, look at right now, just look at the postal parking lot right now. There's no way you can pull in there to park your car and drop off a letter. So as I said before, the year is 2024. We have built a better mousetrap. Now we need to build a better mailbox. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I want to also acknowledge that we've been joined by representatives from Senator Andrew Lanza's office and City Councilman David Carr, and we thank them for supporting us. And they've also signed our letter, which we could provide you with copies of, that we sent to the postmaster earlier this week. With that said, again, I just want to say one more time that it is important that we go after the criminals. We cannot allow the crooks to win. We have to make sure that this service continues to be provided for ease and convenience for our constituents, for the customers of this postal service. And again, let's go after the crooks, not make it inconvenient for the customers, the people and residents of Staten Island. Any questions? Yes. Sorry, you had residents here.
Yeah, I'd like to call up Teresa and her daughter Kristen, who are going to give you the real-life examples. And by the way, Kristen was a Readers Are Leaders winner in 1998. So.
Means you're old, Vito.
Yes,
Oh,
it means
you're
I'm
graduating high school.
And I ended up becoming a teacher, and I stand with my fellow union people. I'm a delegate with the United Federation of Teachers. I've been a Westerly resident for 32 years, and since I was a child in the back seat of my mother's car, those mailboxes have been extremely convenient. I am now a mother of 2 young children who actually happen to be over there. This is incredibly impossible for me to drop off letters because it now requires me to bring really should be the other way around. We should be punishing the criminals that are creating this havoc, and we should be helping the Westerly residents, the North Shore residents. So I'm really hoping that they put these mailboxes back, just, you know, bring a sense of community back and say, hey, you know what, this is something that we take pride in. Bring it back.
And I'm on the other end of the spectrum as a senior citizen by age. I have sympathy for the people who are 10, 15, 20 years older than I am with these removal of these boxes. They've also removed several others in the neighborhood on Westcott Boulevard, on Victory Boulevard, Jewett Avenue, Khyber Court. They've all magically disappeared. So, you know, if it's a vandalism problem, address the problem. Don't punish us.
Thank you.
And thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I was informed by constituents that it's also the Tottenville Post Office has this similar issue, as well as Port Richmond, and we're trying to identify the others through the postmaster, but that's what we've been able to find out so far. But obviously these changes are very disruptive to the community, and it's not fair for the tax-paying citizens who deserve to just be able to drop their mail off and move on with their day. Questions?